I've always been a creative person, and I think being in the creative industries force you to be confident. As a musician, I constantly had to walk on stage and show my abilities, fully aware that I could fail at any moment. Then, as a young adult who loved solo travel, I was always trying to find a way to make friends and optimize my experience. I'm actually an introvert, and these things don't come naturally to me, but it's something I've been trying to master my whole life. Surprisingly enough, there really is an art to becoming more confident, as it isn't just about being better at what you do, but understanding that there's always a chance you could fail or make a fool of yourself, and doing it anyway. I remember the first time I went solo traveling. I'd watched all of these incredible movies about young people traveling alone, and all of these stories about them meeting their soulmates or best friends and having the best time of their life. And I got so excited that I booked a trip to Miami by myself at age 18, forgetting that I had never really been in one of those situations before. How do I actually meet people in the hostel though? Who says hi first? What if they don't want to hang out with me and then there's this awkward environment? Like, I just remember thinking that would be so embarrassing if that happened. So when I actually entered the hostel, I had to give myself a good pep talk. And I said to myself, if you want to have a great time and you want to meet people, you can't wait for other people to introduce themselves to you. You have to be the one to do it. You know, it reminds me back to Stoicism when people say that you have things that are in your control and things that aren't. It was in my control to go and say hi to someone, but it wasn't in my control that they were gonna want to say hi back or have a conversation with me. But worst case scenario, they ignored me and I get on with my day. It's really not that big a deal. So I did the classic 5 seconds of confidence where you count in your head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and at 5 you have to go and do it. And it's weird, it kind of gives you this rush of energy, like, I said I had to do it, so now I actually have to follow through with it. And I walked up to 4 people playing pool together and said, hey, can I join? I love pool. And for the next week, these people were my best friends. We shared so many intimate moments together, and I still think about them to this day. The first people that I forced myself alone to go and say hi to. No one else is going to make the first step, so you have to be the one to do it. I think there's something about being human that makes you feel very vulnerable to the sentiment of embarrassment and humility. It's really something that causes deep anxiety for a lot of people, and we don't want to do embarrassing things. We don't want to feel embarrassed. I remember when I was watching Squid Game that the players had to choose between 1 and 16, and immediately everyone went into the middle because it's way easier to go into the middle and be shy than be the bold person at number 1 or the last guy at 16. And that's the psychology of being a human. We would rather fit in the crowd than stand out. But if you want to gain some confidence, you really have to push yourself to not be a middleman, like in Squid Game. When I was trying to learn a lot more about all of this, I remember coming across the term the spotlight effect. And that is, as human beings, we are very self-focused and we tend to always think about ourselves and how we fit in situations. Am I talking too much? Am I not talking enough? Are people thinking I'm weird? Am I driving weird? And the truth is, we have this huge spotlight on ourselves and everyone else has their own spotlight. So they're not thinking about the way you're driving or that you're talking too much, unless you really are talking too much, probably. They're too busy thinking about themselves. And so if we remember that, the fear of standing out in a bad way suddenly diminishes. You know, it's just really not that deep. Everyone else is so worried about themselves that you can count on that as a way to think, okay, yeah, if I make a fool, I'm making a fool of myself in front of myself. They're probably thinking about something else. If you'd like to know a bit more about the spotlight effect and a similar video, I actually have one called Why You Need to Stop Caring, and you should check that out. But in essence, you are your biggest critic and no one else cares about you the way that you care about yourself. Another huge thing that I learned from trying to become confident is you have to give yourself the opportunity very often to be out of your comfort zone. A way that I've currently been doing it is, as you know, I'm a languages student at university and I'm currently in Spain, and I have been pushing myself every single day to talk to a Spanish person in Spanish. Even if it's a topic that I'm extremely uncomfortable with and I don't have a lot of vocabulary, I'm just going out there and I'm probably embarrassing myself, I'm probably butchering a lot of words, but I'm learning and I'm gaining confidence at the same time. Another great thing that if you're a student, I know a lot of cities do this, and I was lucky that they do it in Valencia. You can have like language exchange nights, especially if you're with an Erasmus, where you just have to go and sit at a table with other people who are trying to learn that target language or are natives, and just talk to those strangers for 2 hours. And it's been such a good confidence builder for me, sitting down confidently and saying, "Hi, I'm Lucy, who are you? Tell me about yourself," in my non-native language. Okay, I've already had so many experiences of making a mistake or doing something that's embarrassing, and what I've learned is that if I don't say to myself, "That was embarrassing," it just becomes something funny that happened, and everyone can laugh around the table. They're laughing at me, and what? We're probably becoming closer as friends. It makes you almost develop a closer connection to someone if you become more vulnerable or you make a mistake and say something stupid. Just the same as the spotlight effect, being stupid is in your own head. If you don't want to classify what you did as stupid or embarrassing, then it isn't embarrassing or stupid. These are emotions that we conjure up ourselves, and it is 100% in your power to change out the negative emotion for a more positive one. Like, that was so funny of me saying that. I can't believe I made that mistake. That was hilarious in comparison to, "That was so embarrassing. I think I'm gonna leave this situation immediately and never come back, and I'm gonna go home and cry." As I mentioned earlier with Stoicism, you can determine how you want something to come across. If it's your own brain, you can train it to say, "That was not embarrassing. That was hilarious." Another huge thing that helped me to become confident today as a 21-year-old woman is accepting who I am in every aspect of life. Now, I'm not telling everyone to go out and be extremely arrogant, but you have to have a bit of confidence in yourself if you want to be perceived as confident. You need to realize that you have strengths, you have weaknesses, and that's all okay. You need to accept who you are, because if you try to be confident being someone else, you're ultimately gonna fail. I guess it's that time of the video where I say some cheesy stuff, but let's think about RuPaul and his classic quote: "If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Or how is somebody else gonna love you if you don't love yourself?" I remember when I was a teenager, and I was a bit of a weirdo because I was in band camp and I really liked maths. I just remember being so insecure for so long until I realized, but what you're doing makes you happy. You don't need to be embarrassed about it. Just because you are living your life a different way than the person in front of you doesn't mean that one of you is inherently good or bad. You're just different people, and that's okay. So accept who you are and almost embrace it. So as a little summary and some exercises if you want to try and build your confidence, as I said earlier, give yourself one thing a day or one night a week where you're doing something that is completely pushing your boundaries, whether it be socially or academically. Go to that Erasmus language exchange that you've been dreading to go to. You probably meet a good friend from it. Or try and use your target language every single day, and even if you're saying something completely off balance and the grammar is all wrong, at least you're building your confidence and you're accepting the humility that comes with it. Another trick that I mentioned when I was saying my story in Miami is the 5-second rule. And I think there's actually really good power in this. Psychologically, with humans, if we say, "In 5 seconds, I must do this." Okay, sorry, don't take what I say for a word, but you're 100% more likely to do it than if you say and think, "I could do it, but maybe this might be embarrassing, or maybe I shouldn't do that," or If you just say count to 5 and do it, when 5 comes, you're gonna have a rush of adrenaline and you're hopefully going to do it. Another great exercise, if you have any form of social media, is maybe putting a skill you have out there. So if you're a musician, put up a piece of music that you've composed or you've been learning and you want to show off, but you're too worried that people are going to laugh at you. Just do it. I'm sure no one actually cares that much about what you're doing and what you're posting. Or perhaps if you want to start a YouTube channel, I know that built my confidence up fourfolds. And the last trick I wanted to bring up from earlier is when something does happen that your immediate thought was, oh, that was so embarrassing, turn it around and make it a positive emotion. That was hilarious. That was very confident of me to say that opinion, or any other positive emotion that comes to mind when something happens. The less you think something is embarrassing and you want to shy away, the less you're going to. Thanks to Stoicism for teaching me that rule. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, here are 2 videos I recommend. And if not, that's okay. I hope you have a lovely day, and bye-bye.